This is Patu Tommy, and I'd like you to keep listening to S.A. Paul.
Hi friend, welcome to Wisdom for Business and Talent. My name is S.A. Paul, and today's lesson will be taking a look at what we started in the previous video, how to start a business in Nigeria. So this is lesson 2. It's a continuation of the previous lesson. So if you've not seen the lesson, I will advise you go to our channel, our YouTube channel, subscribe, and so that you can have access to the previous video. It will really help you a lot, so that you fully appreciate what we're about to look at in this second video. So this is how to start a business in Nigeria, lesson 2. Now remember that in the previous video I made mention of your motive. You need to know why you want to go into business, be it that you want to be gainfully employed, you want to leave the labor market, or you're tired of paid job, you want to be your own boss, or maybe you're working towards retirement, you want to divest. Whatever reason it is, you need to be able to know the reason and the purpose you actually want to go into business, what you want to achieve. This is very important. The second point I made in the previous video has to do with what your experience is. Do you have the experience needed to actually succeed in business or to run the kind of business you really want to go into? After that, we looked at the entry level. How do you want to start? Are you starting small, or you want to be a medium business owner, or you want to be a big business owner? You want to start big. And also, after looking at the motive and having been able to look at your experience and also determine the entry level, we also talked about the requirements. What does the law say? What are the things you need to have, or you need to put in place before you can start a business in Nigeria? And the first point we made under requirement is idea. You need an idea, and your idea has to be rooted in an industry. We need to know which industry you'll be operating in, and then you have to be sure it's feasible. Will you be able to make profit? Do you have what it takes to make it happen? Are there raw materials if you're going to manufacturing? Is the labor affordable? Do you have the right technology? What kind of business model do you want to actually operate with? So, and you will need to look at the level of competition. Is there demand, sufficient demand to keep you going, that will be able to enable you pay your expenses and still continue in business? What's the level of competition? So these are the things that we want to look at in relation to your idea, to the business idea. We also looked at the statutory requirements, the legal requirements. We looked at what the law says about the kind of business you want to go into. The business idea that you have, what does the law say about it? Is the industry regulated? If yes, who are the regulatory agencies or regulatory bodies? What are the guidelines and procedures and policies? What is expected of you? What are you expected to do before you start, when you start, and even when you keep running your business? And made mention of the fact that these are very important, so you don't run into trouble. Then we now moved further into the next point, which is business registration. And that's where we'll be starting lesson 2, today's lesson from. So now you've been able to ascertain your motive, you've seen your purpose, you know why you want to go into business, and you have also been able to determine your level of experience to know if you could actually start, or do you need to bring in some persons on board. You need to be sure you have the right mindset. So that's also related to experience, because your mindset is a reflection of your experience over time, or your experiences in life. So we've been able to look at that. Then after that, you now have been able to determine your entry level, because your motive combined with your experience will determine whether you're supposed to start small, whether you want to start big, or you just want to get a franchise. Because if you're working towards retirement and you've never ever run any business before, definitely your entry level would be to start small, get yourself acquainted with what it takes to run a business, develop the skills, so that at the point of retirement you probably would have gotten abreast with what it takes to run a successful business. So you don't wait till retirement before you delve into business, and that's why a lot of businesses fail. People who wait until they retire before they now invest all their gratuity, sometimes they fail. Is it that you want to start franchise so that you reduce your risk? These are all things you need to put in place. So now you have the motive clear, and you have been able to determine what your level of experience is. You also know that, okay, the entry level is, you're going to start small, medium, or big. The next thing is you've been able to look at the requirements, what you need to actually start the business, which is, like I mentioned earlier, your idea, You also have been able to look at the statutory requirements if you need regulatory bodies. Now, having done all that, the next thing will be your business registration. And the government agency backed and empowered by law to do this is the Corporate Affairs Commission. In Nigeria, you have the Corporate Affairs Commission nationwide, spread across states of the Federation. So you can use the Google search for the nearest branch to your location. But before you visit their office, you need to come up with 2 or 3 different business names. And I'm going to tell you why. The way it works is that when you get to the commission, the Corporate Affairs Commission, you'll be asked to obtain a form, popularly referred to as the name availability form. You will fill this form. In that form, you put in the proposed business names and you submit. The commission will then conduct a search to ascertain if one or all the names you submitted in the form are available or already taken by another entity. This process may take some days. When the search result is out, you can use any of the names if the search shows that they are available. You may be asked to conduct another search with a different set of names if the names you submitted earlier on are not available, meaning that they have already been registered by other entities. So once any of the names are available, you can then proceed with the registration process. However, before you ask for the name availability search form, you need to have determined which business entity you want to use for your business. That's the kind of structure. Now, by law, there are 3 major business entities in Nigeria. The popular ones actually. You have the business name, also referred to as enterprise, some refer to it as sole proprietorship. And under business name, you could be one man or it could be a partnership. Take for instance, somebody who runs a supermarket or maybe a clinic. There are different business lines that could fit into or that could use this structure. It all depends on you and what you want to achieve, like we mentioned earlier on. If you want to run this in partnership with your wife, your colleague, or you probably want to bring in someone who has a similar experience with you and you want to come together to start a business with the person, then partnership may be appropriate for you. Example that I can give is you can see some law firms around, or most law firms are actually partnership. So there's continuity. The second entity that you could actually use is a limited liability company. So you have the public limited liability or private limited liability. It's something that is beyond you. It's a separate entity. Here you actually will need minimum of 2 persons to actually incorporate a limited liability company. Now the third type of any entity that's popular around here in Nigeria is the non-governmental organization. But because here we're talking about profit-making business, you're going to business for profit-making, so you might want to leave out the third entity. So basically, right now the 2 entities that you want to consider will be business name, so proprietorship, and company, a limited liability company. Now you may want to ask, which particular entity can you use? Again, I say that would depend on, remember, the motive, the purpose for which you want to start a business. I'll give you an example. If, for instance, you want to start a business that involves a foreigner, you want to bring in foreign partners, definitely you won't start with a business name, because the law stipulates that you have a structure in place that will make that possible. So definitely you want to go for a limited liability company. But if you're just starting out, maybe you want to start a small store around, you just want to start small, and then as you progress, you grow, then a business name might be appropriate for you, because even with time you may decide to upgrade to a limited liability company. However, I need to let you know that for a limited liability company, you have some level of protection. Your liabilities are limited, and for a sole proprietorship, you are the same as the company. Whatever happens, if for instance you obtain a loan as a sole proprietor or with your business name, and then something happens, the business cannot pay back, then your creditors can come after, your suppliers can actually come after your personal belongings. Whereas for a limited liability company, whatever happens, you're protected by law. The extent of your loss or your indebtedness is just the shares you have in the company or your unpaid shares in the company. Now, you want to also ask me some of the advantages. Sole proprietorship or business name, you are the one in charge, you're the one in control. You don't need anybody's permission. You don't need to ask anybody for approval before you decide what to do with your funds or how to run your business. And it's also easy, very easy to register and not as expensive as a limited liability company. And also one of the benefits is that you could actually run the business at a faster pace. Decision making is fast. For a limited liability company, one of the major advantages is that the structure that the law stipulates to put in place gives some level of confidence to investors, because they believe that this is a regulated entity. There are statutory requirements. You're expected to imbibe corporate governance that would make you run a transparent business. So investors will be more comfortable investing in a limited liability company. And then there are other benefits too attached to this. We'll talk more on that in our subsequent lessons. Now, how much does it cost? For a business name, you could actually do it yourself. You could go to the Corporate Affairs Commission, or you may want to engage the service of a lawyer, but it ranges between 10,000 to 15,000 naira. With 10 to 15,000 naira, you should be able to get yourself a business name. Now, a limited liability company depends on the share capital. Let's say, just for the purpose of this lesson or discussion, between 45,000 naira to 100,000 naira, 120,000 naira will be able to get you a limited liability company registered. Like I said, it all depends on the share capital. Now, I need to also draw your attention to the fact that if your motive or your purpose for establishing or starting a business in Nigeria is to bring in a foreign partner, you have an idea that you need a foreign partner to come in, maybe they are bringing their investment or their technical know-how. One of the regulatory requirements, this is very important, is for you to actually register with Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission, NIPC. This is where you get the business permit to run such a business. And if probably you're getting a kind of technology from outside the country to Nigeria, you're supposed to register with National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion, NOTAP. And also, if you're bringing in an expatriate or a foreigner to actually work with your company here, then you need to get an expatriate quota from the Ministry of Interior. These are some of the statutory requirements that you need to actually understand and know very well before you dive into these things. At the end of the day, if you go to either Corporate Affairs Commission and National Investment Promotion Commission, National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion, probably you go to NAFDAC for certification or registration, and maybe you go to Standard Organization of Nigeria, SON, name it, name any regulatory body. At the end of the day, you'll be issued a certificate once the registration process is completed. And there's more on this also in our subsequent lessons on business registration in Nigeria.
Hi, my name is Tricia Hubner, and I'm Vice President for Business Development of eMyth Worldwide, located in the United States. Keep listening to S.A. Paul.